Hey there! This is Classy Train, my first video game I'm developing. I'm writing the code, creating the art, and composing and performing the music for it. In this video, I'll show you updates I made to the game's enemies and other units, and how the player can interact with them in order to successfully complete a level. The goal of Classy Train is to reach the other end of the level, the next station, without losing all your health. Like a lot of classic platformers, the goal is to avoid getting hit by the enemies, and here, I've runaway trains as the enemies. I've added in this ability you're seeing here to hit these train cars into the runaway trains to stop them. And then a little animation as they fly off the screen. I'm gonna have to make sure it's pretty clear which units can help you and which units you don't want to hit. Right now, doing that with a green health bar above the friendly units and a red health bar above the unfriendly ones. So one of the core mechanics of the game is having to dodge these runaway trains. You can see here that I'm not very good at dodging them, but I wanted to show you some of the updates that I made. I've updated how the health bar works when the player gets hit, first showing in red for how much health that they've lost. You'll also see that they flash for a bit, indicating that they have a few seconds where they're invincible in order to help them get out of whatever situation they're in. In this case, I wasn't able to get out of the situation, so if the player's health drops below 0, like here, they then lose a life. I added in a lose life animation, like a lot of the classic platformers have, where the player will bounce up and then fall off the screen. I'm planning on making a little jingle to go with it that a lot of old platformers have too. I think that makes losing a little less frustrating. If the player loses a life and they still have ones left, they'll be brought back to the start of the level to try again with one less life. And if they have no lives left, then they'll be brought back to the main menu. Another addition to the live system was I added in some functionality where if you collect 100 coins, you'll be given an extra life. The live system uses the player prefs functionality in Unity right now to load and store how many lives they have at the start of each level. You'll also notice that I added this level tracker at the bottom left of the screen. The player will have to complete all 5 levels without losing all their lives. The dot that's flashing indicates the level that they're currently on, and then that'll turn to a check mark once the player beats it. Now before I talk about enemy movement, I wanted to talk about one change I made to the player. You'll notice now when the player jumps, it tilts back, and when they're going down, it tilts forward. I thought this felt a little bit better than just the static standing still jumping up and down, but let me know what you think of it. First off, calling this enemy AI is probably incorrect since the movement is so simple right now. Both enemy types, trains and balloons, just move back and forth between 2 areas. I set this up by creating 2 trigger areas on each side of the train. It's a little hard to see, but it's the 2 long, thin green rectangles. When an indicator goes off that the train's entered one of these areas, the code reverses the train and sends it the other direction. The same thing goes with the balloon enemies, but for up and down instead of left and right. I'll have to think through this because there could be potential issues using this system. For example, if I want to have multiple units that use different flip areas, that's something I'm going to have to make sure I tag them to different ones. And if a train somehow or a balloon gets outside of one of these areas, I'd have to make sure that there's another flip area for it to run into, or it would just keep going in that same direction. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or feedback on the video game, or the video game log itself. Appreciate you watching. Feel free to subscribe for more of this kind of game dev content. And if you're into video game music like myself, check out my other channel, Trunko Tunes, where I upload video game covers. I'm doing all the music for this game, and it's part of the reason I got into game dev. Also composed and performed on piano the background track for this video, which is based off of the theme I made for Classy Train. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more.